This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSPORT Fan Network. TalkSPORT. Powered by fans.
And a superb goal from Barrett. Oh, the keeper saves it, and there's McGregor. There's a goal. Paul McGregor.
Robertson, the first time we've seen them attack them, and there's Francis! Well, that's what I wanted to see Robertson do.
Robertson getting his shot in, and a goal! Robertson!
Hello, welcome to this edition of Red Side of the Trent. Here's the post-match review to Forest. Disappointing and honestly shameful defeat to FC Midtjylland in the Europa League as Forest go down 3-2 at the City Ground. I'm delighted to be joined by Lee Clark this morning, who I'm going to issue a public apology to from the off because he was extremely negative in our WhatsApp group when Ange come in, and now I can just see it all, and I'm seething with him. I'm spitting feathers. Lee, how are you anyway? First of all,
yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, I tend to find these days it's out my system the day after. And obviously having these therapy sessions in the way of the podcast does help. So, yeah, I'm okay. I take no pleasure in the negative stuff I've been putting in the WhatsApp group, but here we are, I suppose. I
might need you to be my therapist today because I honestly, my head is on Mars. I am Christian Hart, as we like to say on this podcast, because I don't even really know what I want to talk to you about the game because I'm just seething about the whole entire situation of it all. I'm seething that we're losing football matches in the manner that we are. And I just like last night just epitomised it. I mean, what should have been an unbelievable occasion, what looked like from watching at home because I had to, it looked like I was like, I'm so jealous of not being there. And then that got dished up to us. And it was just so disappointing. But I mean, it must have been great beforehand to be in the ground with like your pals and everything after so long of not being in it.
Yeah, it was good. We kind of we all kind of stayed quiet, which half made me think that maybe we were all getting a little bit lump in the throat, kind of emotional, because it was good. It was like I say, I am old enough to remember being in the ground when we lost to Bayern. I went to all the home games of that European campaign, but it wasn't the same because as a kid the whole match day experience is just completely different. So yeah, it was good. It was everything I hoped it would be in that sense. Not usually a big fan of light shows. I think that's something that I'd potentially from modern football that I'd put in Football Room 101, but yeah, having been there and experienced one for the first time last night, yeah, not bad. Not sure about the fireworks and all the hot things that were coming out. It made the ground really warm where I sit, so maybe we'll be more thankful for that when we're playing like Malmo when it's going to be like 3 degrees or whatever. But yeah, it was in that sense it was everything I hoped it would be. And obviously, when the Europa League music comes on and everything, it's something that I felt quite lucky last night because I support fans of. I know a lot of Mansfield Town fans. I know a lot of Leeds fans, and not in an awful way. I know Leeds are a massive club, so maybe not them quite so much as the Mansfield fans. But they're never going to experience that unless they go into a game to watch someone else's team. So. 4 years on from actually winning a playoff final, we're in that situation. It was a little bit surreal, to be honest.
I mean, it's like your better half. She's a Sheffield Wednesday fan, so like, I mean, look what they're going through in terms of like their club. Like that's turmoil and all.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's yeah. In that sense, it was really nice. It was. It's just a shame that the match didn't live up to. It was almost like we were bang up for it, but they weren't. But I'm sure we'll move on to that.
Yeah, just a few comments. So Cheshire says, good morning to you. Slick Rick has put 9 a.m. and he's still here. Michael says, I've patience, been here 5 minutes. Tom Newton, what should have been a memorable season as we return to European competition has become an absolute disaster. Clashing egos have caused this. Nothing wrong with holding your hands up and admitting mistake. I mean, the game I thought was there for us to like really kick on, Lee, and Midtjylland had completely other ideas. And I mean, what makes it more angry for myself is we all kind of underestimated them. We all looked at them and said, oh, well, they're playing Monday night. They've rotated the team because they've got a massive game against Copenhagen, as I spoke to Ryan, who's a Midtjylland fan. And they were bang up for it. They were physical from the very get-go, and we just did not seem to enjoy that whatsoever, considering we play in one of the most physical leagues in the world. And I just don't understand where the players' mentalities were with that. And that showed from the minute one, and then from the first goal till the very, very end, in all honesty. And I was just so bitterly disappointed.
Yeah, I think... I think when you're playing teams like that, I think you've got to... The non-negotiable is that you've got to match their work rate, because that in some cases is all they've got. Obviously, Midtjylland did have the set pieces, which again we'll come on to. But I actually thought in open play they didn't offer a great deal, as I expected they wouldn't. They came and they were physical, they got stuck in, and they ran a lot, which I knew they would do, because that would have been their manager's brief. Look, make sure you work harder than them, because they might... that's the one thing that we can control. And they did. They're probably still running around Nottingham somewhere now. Maybe they ran back to Denmark. I don't know. But you could tell they were going to do that from the first whistle, to be honest. We just never, in terms of a tempo sense, we just never matched them. And it only ends one way. It could have been anyone. If you don't match them for work rate, you're gonna lose to those sort of teams. And that's not a... Those sorts of teams sounds really arrogant and it shouldn't do, because it's still the Europa League. But I mean, I've seen things saying that they're no mugs. I mean, come on, they play in Denmark where there's 12 teams and 2 of them are any good, potentially 3. I mean, it's pathetic. A Premier League team shouldn't be losing to Midtjylland. I spoke to a Danish journalist and he agreed with that sentiment, especially with the Premier League team being at home. If you go over there, different conditions, different kind of pitch, it's a little bit different, but away, I mean, you could see their celebrations at the end. It was like they won the competition. So, we just didn't match their work rate from minute one, to be honest.
I mean, the fact that 200 Danish fans probably sang a 30,000 capacity stadium, although I think the boos would have rung out after the full time whistle. But I mean, Kane's foot last season was like the first time doing it. Last season was like the first time doing a drug, the buzz, the high. This season feels like the come down, and I'm so depressed. Simon's thought, I used to think our fans were above the disgraceful chance yesterday at our manager after 6 games. But my caveat to that, Lee, I mean, that comment is Marinakis wanted to install a winning mentality into the supporters. And I mean, 6 games Ange's had, yes, and I know it's going to sound absolutely harsh, but there's no evidence to say that we've progressed from what we had with Nuno. And the fact is, we've played 6 games, one of them against Arsenal, so right, that Arthur was in there for a day, but 5 games where really we arguably should be winning all of them, or should have won, especially one against, like, Betis was a hard game, don't get me wrong, but we were 2-1 up and cruising.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'll even give him the Betis one, because we are away. That we need to address that, because obviously we've had a couple of comments already saying it's only 6 games. You're quite right, it's only 6 games, but we've played Burnley and Sunderland in those 6 games. And don't give me this Sunderland have started well, because we're a European side, we're at home. It's a game that you if you want to kick on and you want to finish sort of in similar positions, you've got to be winning those games. I just think that the people I get that it's only 6 games. You're quite right, it is, but a couple of things. Have we seen anything other than 2 45-minute displays in those 6 games that suggests this is going to be a good appointment? No. Have we played teams? If it was 6 games and the Premier League games were against Arsenal, Chelsea, City, you'd kind of say, yeah, fair enough. For example, if a new manager was to come in now, you'd kind of give him, weirdly, a little bit more time if you could see some sort of progression, because you're playing Newcastle, Chelsea, Bournemouth and Man United. Those fixtures are tough fixtures. If Ange had come in and had those 4 fixtures, I still don't think the atmosphere would be any different, because fans didn't want him in the first place. And this is where we come on to the point where I'm starting to feel a little bit more resent to Marinakis this time, because I think fine, he'd had the spat with Nuno, that's fine, that's football, that's what happens. But canvass and lobby fans' opinion a little bit more. He's got people around him who do that for him. We know that. There's all sorts of snoops and stuff like that on social media, because that's just what owners do these days. They canvass and lobby opinion from fans. It wouldn't have taken long to suss out that Forest fans wanted Ange Postecoglou nowhere near the City Ground. And instead he went and appointed him in typical Marinakis fashion about 25 minutes after Nuno had been announced as leaving. So, yeah, that's where the anger is coming. I get that it's only 6 games, but there's just no sign of life, basically.
Yeah. The other issue is as well is that if he does decide to part ways with Ange Postecoglou, the money he's going to have to pay out to him is probably going to be the same sort of money, maybe a little bit more, to have prized away a Marco Silva, Oliver Glasner, or an Andoni Areola from one of those clubs, or Bournemouth, Fulham, or Palace. Do you know what I mean? So it just makes no sense. I don't understand why Marinakis has never paid out for a manager when you're willing to pay 30 something million for a player. That makes zero sense to me for when it's such a key part of your football club. Like, it really matters who's in the dugout, because fans need that connection, players need that connection, you need an identity, and we've gone from playing counter-attacking football to this possession-based football, but it actually doesn't look like it really goes anywhere some of the time. Like the last couple of games, I just felt like teams look so relaxed against us. Last night, I mean, the goal we score is a good goal, but that's because like they're caught out of position, really. Like Sells has boomed one from them pressing and gives White fair play to him, gets onside, sticks a ball across the box, and then Doy finishes it. But other than that, we didn't really create anything. I don't remember they keep having to make a meaningful save. It was all pop shots from bleeding million miles outside the box. And half of them go high, wide, and like nearly kill a child half the time, to be honest.
Yeah, and this is it. If a manager's out of work, it's usually for a reason, isn't it? I mean, if you're going to get a manager that's out of work, in the situation when Nuno left, go and give Mourinho a blank check. We're in Europe. Would Mourinho want to come back to the Premier League? Of course he would. It made me laugh because he said he didn't want another job in Europe, and then he went and took the Benfica job the day after, didn't he? I mean, just Mourinho would have been box office for a year. Just in this situation, in this competition that we're in, he'd have relished it. And yeah, it might not have been pretty at times, and him and Marinakis might have been a recipe for disaster. But what's this? What's this that we've got now? I mean, it just, I agree with everything you just said there, Adam. I think it seems really strange that Marinakis is happy to throw money left, right, and centre at players, but he's never paid compensation for a manager. If you're wanting to kick on after finishing seventh, and you know, in this league it's tough. As we said at the start of the season, Tottenham and United will probably improve. Maybe not United. Now I've seen them start. But Tottenham under Frank will almost certainly improve. So they're going to take one of the European spaces this year. If you're going to turn around to a club like Tottenham and say, no, you're not having our place, you go and pay compensation and get Glasner, don't you? You go and pay compensation and get Marco Silva. That's what a progressive football club does. And I feel like this is jobs for the boys. He's just got Postecoglou because his mate's out of work. It just don't make any sense. And it really made me laugh that we talk about this possession-based football, and then we scored the goal like we scored last night, that first one. You don't have to play 29 passes before you score a goal every time. This is what Pep's created in the modern era, I suppose, a little bit. But it was 3 touches. Sells to Gibbs White to Ndoye, goal. And we didn't do it again all night. They didn't like it when we put it on them. Just tactically inept from the word go, to be fair.
Yeah, the worst one is obviously the set piece thing. I've seen Paul Morley on Twitter this morning say Midtjylland created an XG of 2.02 from set pieces, which is alarming, and it's it wasn't even the highest in the Premier League last season for anyone against us, especially. So that is extremely alarming. And I think Christian dug out an article that Ange says like he got asked about set pieces at Tottenham, and he says, I've got other things to worry about. For me, that is a completely an obtuse mindset. Like, you're a football manager, you need to address absolutely every single thing. You need to know every single weakness about your football club, every single strength, and you play to those. That is literally for me, if he said that to me as a support, I'd go, well, why are you a manager? You should be like Sunday League. Do you know what I mean? That is unacceptable to me.
Yeah, I mean, I partly blame his team as well. Who's he got working under him as coaches? Surely one of your coaches turning around and saying, look, Gaffer, I'll do it, but we need to work on these set pieces. We can't keep conceding like this. It just doesn't make any... it's really arrogant, isn't it? And it's everything that we got told by Tottenham fans that it would be. I don't really know what to say to that. It's pathetic. In the modern game, you've got to, like you say, leave no stone unturned with every aspect if you want to gain any sort of advantage on your opponents. And Yeah, like I say, that's all they had last night, and that's not a slight on them. We knew they were going to be strong from set pieces. They won't mind being called a set piece specialist team because that's what they are. That's where they get a lot of success. And the one thing that if we stop them scoring those 2 set pieces, we probably win the game. Because, like I say, I maintain they didn't offer much, certainly with the ball and creating chances in open play. But yeah, just clueless.
Yeah, Southpaw has put, I don't care about Europe. It's the league I'm worried about and the possibility of being bottom come Monday morning. I mean, was it Jason? He's echoed that. I'm worried as well. Screw Europe. We could be relegated. Neil Palmer, it feels like Hugh McLaren and McLeish all over again. I mean, it is worrying. I mean, a lot of people have put how worried they are. And I mean, I completely echo that. I'm probably missing loads of comments out there, so I do apologise. But it is worrying late. I mean, the next few fixtures we've got are worrying. I think I don't really know what to say, but I mean, what Murillo playing last night as well. He looked like he was injured from the get-go, and I mean you could blame Ange for that, but also you got to blame Murillo a little bit and the medical team because they've got to take responsibility as well. But the formation was bizarre. The referee, I mean, I know you said let me rant about the referee. He was awful last night. Truly, truly awful.
I'd like to put on record that's the worst refereeing display I've ever. Not just refereeing display, all 3 officials were absolutely shocking. And I don't even mean the referee was abysmal. The referee gave 3 free kicks in the first half when no one even appealed for anything. And I'm not saying you need to have an appeal for there to be a foul, but all the players were just looking at him like, what have you given this time? And then the free kicks that needed giving arguably came in the build-up to goals. Yeah, he was really bad. And do you know what? It does melt my heart a little bit when overseas referees are bad because there's this perception in our country that by getting foreign referees into ref our games, things will improve. No, they won't because we've seen last night. The one thing I do like that I'm going to try and bring positive to, VAR checks seem a lot quicker with the UEFA situation. So that is one positive at least. But yeah, he was so bad that I've never seen a Premier League referee that bad. It didn't impact the game. I'm not trying to suggest that at all, but yeah, I just needed to get on record how bad he was. So yeah, if you think the solution is getting overseas, I know Reece said last night we want the best overseas ones. Well, like case in point, it just doesn't. It won't make a blind bit of difference because football's too tribalism when it comes to professional referees. If they give something bad against your team, you'll think it's corruption. That's just how football fans' mindset works, isn't it? So, yeah, that's not the solution. There is a big problem with refereeing in this country, but the answer isn't to get them from overseas because, as we saw last night, they're even worse.
Yeah, I mean, I thought as well, like he was just so inconsistent. The third goal that they score, I mean, it's a poor corner from Anderson, albeit, but I do think Hudson-Odoi gets clipped, and he was giving them all night, but it's 3-on-1. I mean, Sells doesn't let that goal in last season. He's been awful, since opening day. I don't know what's wrong with him. He can't catch a cold. He's never been able to catch a cold, to be honest. It's always been my gripe about him as a goalkeeper. He's not commanding of his area whatsoever. He's very poor from that situation. But let's take it away from Ange for a brief moment, Lee, because players have got to take some sort of responsibility. We're not playing good enough. People aren't stepping up to the mark. Callum Hudson-Odoi last night, I don't think I saw him put a good cross in all night. I thought Ndoye was very hot and cold bar his goal. Gibbs White tried his best. I think Anderson tried his best, but also his shooting is abysmal. Milenkovic has gone cold. Nico Williams trying to shoot all the time from left back. Savona looks out of sorts. It's all very disjointed. I think Sangare, and he's probably the one that can take a lot of credit last night. I thought he actually played quite well, and Wood when he come on.
Sangare's passing was unbelievable. I know Wood was offside the 2 passes, but there was another 2 that he played where he did create chances. Yeah, Sangare was our best player by a mile, and that's not me saying that because I want to get one-upmanship on people who prefer other midfielders. I thought it wasn't even a contest. He was the only one who looked like he was playing for the manager almost, and that's another point. We'll just rewind a little bit. when a new manager comes in, there's not at this level. There's not always a new manager bounce in terms of results because it's a tough league and anyone can beat anyone to a certain degree. But there's usually some sort of, like when Nuno came in, he got the respite because he went and had them 2 big wins. But straight away, we could kind of see that we were going to be tougher to beat. And I know it didn't always he did go on a bit of a poor run, didn't he? But there was still sort of roots that we were going to be a little bit harder to beat than we were under Cooper. I wouldn't mind so much if we were getting beat, but we were throwing everything on the line and putting bodies on the line. Never mind the set pieces. To me, it just looks like Ange isn't bothered about defending because the defenders just don't look like they know what they're doing. You've got, I mean, we can knock it on the head that Zinchenko is the one that wants to go inside all the time. Because I lost count of the amount of times last time that Nico Williams was stood next to Sangare. So it's just not. This is why I don't know if we're going to have a discussion about this, but this is why it just needs knocking on the head, this experiment, because Marinakis must have watched that last night and know they're not playing for him. They don't know they either don't know what they're doing or they're not willing to put the bodies on the line for him. And that's a real worry because at this level, you can't win games. I mean, how many times did we win games last year and we're a bit like, didn't really play that well, but do you know what? If you throw a brick at Milenkovic, you'd head it back. You can't say that about any of them now because, I mean, someone said last night while I was on the concourse at half time, with Murillo, when it comes to defending set pieces, he's not always been the greatest, has he? But there is an argument that he probably cost us last night because both goals came when he was limping around the pitch. Yeah. So, yeah, it's just a mess. From 1 to 11, it's just a mess. But, yeah, going back to your original point, Sangare was... I actually don't think Morata was that bad, you know. I thought he was okay. He did some weird things like he couldn't make a 5-yard pass, but then rolled into the tackle and got it back. But yeah, I thought he was okay. I reiterate just quickly on him. I don't think he's anywhere near as bad when he's playing left-sided centre-half as some people want to make out, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to ask about a certain topic, then go for it, Lee, because I'm kind of just going off my emotion today. I mean, I just don't know how to kind of compute it all. I'm very angry about it all. It almost feels like a time when I stopped going to watch Forest for a period of time because I just got so fed up with how the club was being ran.
Yeah, absolutely, and I totally get that. I mean, obviously, when I don't go to Forest, I ref. I get paid to do that. I mean, it looks like a better solution at the moment. And that's not me. Yeah, there'll be all sorts of comments now saying, oh, we'll give you tickets to someone who wants to go. I think when I've had a season ticket or been going regular for sort of over 25 years of my life, I think I've got a right to kind of feel how I want to feel and not get any sort of repercussion for it. And I'm sure I won't be the people my age, listening to that and thinking, yeah, I agree. The one thing I probably would ask you actually is we had a bit of a not an argument because as mates you don't argue, do you? But we had a bit of a backwards and forwards. The substitution situation I thought was bizarre. I think you have subs. I think you have subs. I think as a manager you have subs with a bit of a get out of jail card because if you use them all and the result still doesn't go your way, you can kind of say, well, at least I tried. To only make 2, one was enforced through the injury, and then to literally. It was for the last 20 minutes. It was rinse and repeat, wasn't it? And when I saw Wood there, I thought, oh, maybe he's going to go 4-4-2 here and just put 2 up front, try and get it a bit more direct. But he went like for like, and then it didn't make any other subs. It just seemed madness to me. I don't know what your thoughts were on it, but it just didn't seem to make any sense. As he washed his hands of all or are the subs going to play Sunday? I just thought it was a strange situation not to throw any of them on and give them something to think about.
I'm surprised Backwood didn't come on. I'm surprised. He's probably the most obvious one. Like Cali Mwendo didn't come on. Just no injection of anything. McAtee, very, very, very bizarre. Yeah, maybe he's got Sunday in mind, but maybe thought, well, these are good enough to go and get me a result, and thought there was something there to keep pursuing with. I really don't have a clue anymore. Like the thing with Nuno, I think if he hadn't spat his dummy out last season, he was quite good at using a lot of his subs, if not all of them. I think if the situation hadn't happened, he would have probably used them against West Ham. But I just think he'd already kind of made his bed and he was lying in it, sort of thing. So it's an interesting one. I mean, I'm just going to go to a few comments, Lee, because Alex has been putting this up for ages. He just told me he wants me to see it. I've been meaning to. He says, apparently after the game, Alex was shouting his head off, getting really aggressive and saying stuff like 4 or 5 games now, not good enough, something like that, complaining to his team or players. I mean, I echo that. I completely echo that. Come on, Lee.
I echo that, but he needs to be careful doing that to the players because as we saw, I mean, I didn't really like people staying and clapping, but again, I'm not going to, having just said what I've just said about people, maybe now I'm feeling, if you want to stay and clap the players off, what I would say about clapping the players off is, if Marinakis pulls the plug on Postecoglou, the players will remain. The players are going to stay. And I think in the modern era, bashing players never ends well because they'll just think, well, I won't be here if this club's in the Championship, so I'm not really bothered. So I think Marinakis has got to be very careful taking it out on the players. Yeah, it's not good enough, and they'll get criticised because that's what happens in football and sport in general. But they're clearly struggling with something, aren't they? Whether it's the hangover from Nuno going, whether it's the fact that they're not really buying into. Do you know something else that wound me up about yesterday's performance? Gibbs White sat in a press conference, and this isn't necessarily a gripe at Gibbs White in general because all players do it. It's media trained rubbish. And he sat there and said, when we get the first win, we'll be unstoppable. So guess what got regurgitated when we lost? Just stop saying stuff like that. Just tell us what we want to hear, that you're working hard in training, you're desperate to get a first win, and you're going to be doing your utmost to get it. It's boring, it's bland, but do you know what? As a fan, I'd be like, well, if we don't win, that's not going to come back and bite us on the arse. It's just...
Well, the "we always win" comment is really bitten us on the arse, I have to say.
But yeah, I think when chairman and owners start going into dressing rooms and shouting at players, that never ends well for me. I think he's got to be very careful doing that.
Yeah, a few other comments. So Adam Alexander, Lee says the referees from Europe aren't the answer. The referee was crap, but the ref against Betis was absolutely fine.
I mean, I apologise, Adam. I didn't rate him either. I thought he was very inconsistent. Zinchenko should have been booked after 30 seconds in that game. 2 minutes later, a tackle that was nowhere near as bad as that one. What did we get? A booking. They're just inconsistent. Again, I've no problem with it, Adam, because ultimately... we all want English referees to be better, but they're just as inconsistent on the continent, sadly. And I think we're seeing it firsthand now.
Yeah, Tom Nuno's staff were always present and involved. And staff, I've not seen any of them. It's meant to be Millie Yenilak and Nick Montgomery at Sheffield United. You always saw Nuno's staff. Yeah, that's true. Very, very true. I mean... and then we've got Benny. We knew they had a strong midfield, despite that we had played 2-player midfield. The setup was a bad decision. Murillo playing not fit was a bad decision. The subs was a bad decision. Too much bad decisions. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's just a car crash. And I mean, we play Newcastle at the weekend, Lee, and I'm not looking forward to it whatsoever because I just think they've got the tails up. They beat Union St. Gallen or whatever you could call them 4-0. I know it's a Belgium side, they should beat them, but 4-0 on the back of losing 2-1 to Arsenal at home will get their tails up. Walter Made looks a good signing. Alanga looked good in midweek as well, and I'm just fearful, especially for set pieces when they got Dan Burn and Walter Made, who are absolutely, they tower above all of our players and the rest of the league.
I joked last night that I was having £1 on a Dan Burn hat-trick. I'm sure you must get 3 figures on the odds for that. I mean, this sounds awful, but I'm at the point where if a heavy defeat would get him sacked going into the international break, would I take it? Possibly. I say possibly because I never want to see this club get heavily beaten, but yeah, I'm at that point. I don't see any... Do you know when we lost to Swansea? I mean, again, I didn't watch that game, but looking at the highlights, you watch that Swansea game and you think, oh, might play some nice football here. Even the Burnley game, I don't think we played that badly against Burnley. No. I think some of Dubravka's saves were good, unlike the highlight reel that they showed of Sunderland's keeper on Saturday was just... I mean, if I didn't save them in the Sunday League, I'd be paying extra subs. So yeah, what was my original point? Yeah, I'm just at that point with the whole situation. Yeah, I don't know. I think we're gonna lose, aren't we? I can't see anything. People keep saying it'd be very Forest to go and get a result there.
It would. It generally would.
He probably would, but I can't see it. There was some. I mean, me and Christian had a conversation in our group chat, didn't we, after last week's game when Newcastle played Arsenal? They don't look as good as last season. I will be honest. Their focal point's gone, but this new guy up front, I'm not going to try and pronounce his name, but he looks like Rudy Voller. For those who can remember him.
It's said how it's spelled, just Walter Maddy. That's
it's
an all right one.
If we can go there, it's funny because if we go there and keep it tight for half an hour and get their deluded fan base against them, who knows? But I don't think we will. I just think we'll. I've not seen anything from this group of players that suggests that they're up for an away game like that. I suppose being away might help. Not as many fans to kind of sing about Nuno and tell Ange's getting sacked in the morning, but we'll have to see. I can't say I'm looking forward to watching it, to be honest.
I mean, Nffc 2000s, but last time I hope we'd lose matches was under Martin O'Neill. I mean, that's the depressing point we're at, and it's 6 games in, and I mean, none of us should be saying it, but none of us wanted Ange in the first place, as you said, Lee. If someone had typed in #NFFC online, they'd have known that. And everyone knew that, and we still appointed him, and that comes down to Marinakis and Edu. And I mean, they've got to take some sort of blame for this egotistical kind of mindset they potentially have, because it's just absolutely farcical. It's completely ruined the season already. Like what was meant to be an unbelievable season, and don't even get me started on ticket prices for this fixture. 50 to 70 quid for a person that's not a season ticket holder is an absolute joke. I'm sorry, it is a farce. How can you charge that much against a team that was literally, I think someone just threw out the comment, they're like a Danish Charlton. That is it's scandalous to charge that amount of money for a football match. They are pricing out like working class people. Like I've seen loads of comments online saying they were surrounded by day trippers and people they didn't know last night. And I mean, that don't help the atmosphere. It doesn't help anyone. Fair enough, they come to support the club and they pay their hard money. And people saying you can't boo because that means you're entitled. I'm sorry, you've paid your money. You're entitled to your opinion. You can say whatever you want. That's the nature of the football match and paying for your ticket. Honestly, last night was embarrassing. It was embarrassing.
I've got to call. I don't know who it was. I saw a couple of tweets saying, "I can't believe how many season tickets holders aren't going." Well, I'm sorry. If you're a season ticket holder who travels away regularly, I can see why you didn't prioritise the Midtjylland game, because you want to go on those away trips, and it's been since Ange come in, it's been an expensive time of things. So again, it's another. Who is anyone in this day and age to tell another football supporter what they can and can't spend their money on? If they want to prioritise certain games, then let them. In terms of the atmosphere, just to quickly touch on that, I actually don't think Forest now we've been in the Prem 4 years and we're in Europe. I actually don't think Forest are too unique to many other Premier League clubs. I think it's a bit of a myth that all the atmospheres in other clubs are brilliant, because they're not. I've been to Anfield a few times. It's loud. It's brilliant for it's spine tingling for You'll Never Walk Alone, and followed by 90 minutes of silence, because it's usually Tom, Dick, and Harry's from Ireland and all over the world who get tickets, because that's when they can, they've been chosen to go to the game. So you don't have that clutch of. Forest's probably a little bit different to Liverpool in that sense, but you don't have that clutch of kind of hardcores, because people do, because it's so expensive. People do pick and choose. So I don't buy this that the results will be better if we just get behind them for 90 minutes. Well, it won't be, because that's football. That's just. It's got to work both ways, hasn't it? If you're seeing free-flowing football like we saw against Betis, or the goal we scored last night, if you're seeing that constantly and you're knocking on the door, the atmosphere is going to increase. Again, when you watch Newcastle on Saturday, if Newcastle start poorly and we take the lead, you watch their atmosphere. You'll either be able to hear a pin drop, or they'll start booing and moaning at every single decision that we get. That's nature of the beast. It's just how it goes.
Yeah, there's 560 people listening to this extremely negative podcast, but I can't speak any different. This is much my truth. So if you're enjoying it and like it, do drop us a subscribe or whatever. Like, just help us be more positive, because I normally am, and everyone knows. Everyone who watches the pod and follows me online will know how positive I generally am. I think Lee, you can vouch for that. But honestly, I'm at my ends. Like, I'm going through a tough time personally, and Forest is my outlet, and it's completely ruining that as well. I think I might just stick to paddle and poker, to be honest. Like, at least I can lose on my own merit in a sense.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, positive. I am going to play snooker this morning. I've not played for a few weeks with my granddad. It was 83 yesterday, actually. So happy birthday to my granddad for yesterday.
Granddad Clark.
And so I'm looking forward to that. I've got a football-free weekend, and I've not had football midweek, so that's been nice to recover the old knees that are getting a little bit sore and swollen as I approach 40. So that is a little positive we can take, isn't it? And maybe everyone would probably guess it'd be me that would say this, because as I've said for years, with my job and everything and how I see football these days now, I'm a bit older, I don't get too high with the highs and I don't get too low with the lows. I maintain that in the Premier League, you're never more than 3 games away from disaster. And ultimately, there is more to life than football. It's great that I've got this platform to kind of come on here and get everything out in the open, where there'll be some today sat in the office getting the absolute proverbial taken out of them by the work colleagues who have waited 18 months for Forest to have a downturn in fortunes. And it won't quite be so easy for them, but it is just football. You know, we haven't got a game Saturday. Spend time with your loved ones. Go and watch a local non-league game if you really want to. I'll plug Clipston FC if you're local, because that's my local non-league club. But yeah, things won't get better. My wife keeps telling me it will get better. If he keeps losing, he'll get the sack, because that's football. Things will get better.
I mean,
I guarantee now I'll sit on this podcast in February, we'll be rock bottom. And I did think of another positive from a message you popped up, actually, Adam. Someone said they don't want to see us be bottom on Monday morning. Well, good news, Wolves can't get 4 points if they win at the weekend, so we won't be bottom. We've got 5. So that is one little positive.
I don't want to speculate about people losing their jobs and everything else, Lee, but I think the inevitable will probably happen. I put a little gif of Sean Dyche in the snow or the rain or whatever it is in his white shirt, like just smiling away. I mean, as much as people will lambast me and say absolutely no chance, I generally just think that's coming. And do you know what? One positive thing I'd say about Dyche is he's local. He'll bring in Steve Stone and Ian Woan, and that'll get the crowd lifted straight away. I just think he's been waiting to get the Forest job for ages. You know, I think he's never moved out of the city. He's always local. He's always about. He's at Rock City. He's head banging with the Goths or whatever. I just think he will be our saviour at some point this season, but it just might be sooner than what Christian said, which would probably be March time.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think the things are that bad at the minute. We'd take it. Everything you've just said, it galvanised the dressing room. I'd love to be a fly on the wall when he tells some of our players that they've got to wear shin pads in training and pull their socks above their knees. That would be brilliant. Yeah, listen, it's got that bad. Why not? I had a text from a friend of mine this morning, and he said that we shouldn't be in a position where we're kind of going back to a manager that just, you know, with all due respect, it's a bit of a backward step. Oh, I think we've lost Adam.
Carry on, Lee. Sorry. Oh, no. What have I done? I never pressed leave. I don't know what happened. I'm really sorry, guys, whilst this is happening. Something's gone wrong. I will keep it going until Lee Clark returns. I have no idea where he's gone. I hadn't had enough. Don't know what I literally don't know what's just happened. So this will have to get edited now, I'm sure. Lee Clark, come back. Oh God. I don't know what's happened. Sorry. Live podcasts at their finest. Yeah, no, absolutely terrible. I don't know what's happened. Do apologise, guys. And yeah, this is a very interesting podcast if you're listening on the audio, because it's just all gone tits up. Let's just face it. Yeah, I think I was hoping you'd continue. I don't know what happened there, Lee. I do apologise.
I was planning on continuing and then got booted out. Don't know. Is Ange listening? Has he booted us out of the podcast?
Yeah.
I can't remember what I was saying now.
Just echoing the positivity of bringing Dyche in.
I mean, I had a text this morning from someone, and he was saying that we shouldn't be in a position where we're kind of going back to that sort of not negative football, but kind of robust, where you're trying to shut up shop every game. And we go back to what we said at the start, don't we? Is Marinakis going to pay? We all think he's going to get someone who's free and available to start straight away. So, yeah, I think we'd all take it at the minute with Woan and Stone coming in as well. It makes us a bit more difficult to beat. Yeah, why not? I think we've got to do something. If we lose Everly, I think he will get Sunday because it's such a quick turnaround. But if we lose Everly Sunday, I think he will pull the plug. To be honest.
Yeah, I can't wait for the audio listeners to watch this catastrophe happen. First time in 4 seasons that's ever happened, by the way. Like, crazy. Honestly, yeah, ridiculous. I'm going to do some slept on it thoughts because people have contributed online and that. So let's do that.
Red side of the Trent. Slept on it thoughts.
So Tom Newton, big contributor as always. Warburton, Karanka, O'Neill, Lamucci, Houghton, Cooper, Nuno, Ange, what have they all got in common? They were all out of work prior to being appointed. Fans' dream ticket is Silver Glasner, Iraola. For all the money spent, EM never pays Compo to entice an employed boss to come here. Josh Potts, manager clueless, can't defend set pieces. I don't think I've ever seen a Forest crowd turn quite quickly on a manager. Nobody wanted him. Now we've missed the boat on Mourinho, Glasner, Silva or Iraola. On the positive last night, we employ Elliot Anderson. Matt Hoy, meant to be a special season and night, yet here we are, crap defending, back to not being able to sort out set pieces. Find it hard to justify the £130 they want on Monday for Leeds and Porto, getting close to break glass and bringing Dyche just to stay up. Carl Booth, he needs to go. It's not working and it was never going to. We can't defend at all. We can't seem to score very many either. And I don't care how attacking you are. If you're conceding 3 goals a game, you're going to get relegated. It's as simple as that. Mark Baker, all this mess for a Marinakis ego trip. I honestly don't know where we go from here. The next manager choice is probably the biggest call we've ever had to make. Premier League survival has to be priority now and be prepared to lose some big players in January to pay for it. Stuart Clarkson, we look lost souls. It's clearly had an impact on the players. They look lost and directionless. They say the right things in interviews and video, but the eyes are vacant. Our pub conversation went back to Marinakis confronting Nuno on the pitch. An FU reaction, maybe. Bish, lost all my enthusiasm for Forest over the last 6 games. I'll be there, but just can't get up for it anymore. I don't know what the answer is either. Beck's last 15 minutes, we started to go down the centre and find Wood. Before that, it was just pretty triangles on the wings with no end product. Sam needs to get rid of him before he gets his relegated. Clearly hasn't learned from his disaster season at Spurs last year. He's out of his depth. Gareth, he has to go. This is the biggest mistake Marinakis has made since owner. Tonight is where he lost the supporters. He won't win us back now. Any manager who loses the supporters as a club doesn't last long. How quickly he's lost the supporters shows how many didn't want him. Bennett, hard to see how Ange surviving this. Marinakis needs to admit a very costly mistake. Yeah, there's quite a lot. Last few, Capinosity, Clough brought resilience, then that disappeared after he left. He reignited under Cooper in 21-22 and under Nuno last season. For most of the last 35 years, Forest have collapsed like a house of cards when pressure was applied on and off the field, a slow motion car crash. Last of all, no means least, Joe Pritchard, embarrassing, not sure if it was all on Ange, but something ain't right, so he's got to go now. I mean, scathing there, Lee. I think it's quite obvious what the message is really. So yeah, I mean, Adam, who's a member, just gotta give him the international break to get his ideas across. But if there's no improvement after that, then you have to start asking questions. But no more defensive, negative managers, please. So, I mean, my answer was the 3 managers that I wanted because they've all got a bit of balance about them. They can all go forward and they can all shut up shop in a sense and play counter attack. So. I ain't got a clue what the answer is there, Lee, but it's not looking good one way or another.
No, you want someone with a bit of a mix, don't you? I do get what he's saying there with no more negative managers. We don't really want to be going back to that, do we? But at the end of the day, we need to become harder to beat because we're sleepwalking towards relegation, aren't we, ultimately? So, yeah, I don't know what the answer is. I think... this has been a good therapy session, but yeah, I guess time will tell. I think one good point that Adam did say there, to be honest, is that I wouldn't be completely surprised if he did get the international break, and then if we got another heavy defeat to Chelsea after losing to Newcastle, he'd pull the plug just to kind of give him that extra game, because obviously if you do sack him after Newcastle, the first game in charge for the new manager is Chelsea at home. But then is it better to give the new manager a home game first up? Again, I'm glad it's Marinakis making these decisions and not me, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, Dan's made a good point, actually. He said, what's he doing on international break? Players who normally start are injured or away. And yeah, that is very true. So yeah, I'm unsure. And I mean, it's a therapy session. We both tried to quit at some point, but not on purpose. So honest. Yeah, that's it. I mean, I've got nothing more to say really on the matter. Fair play to Midtjylland. They came with a game plan. They were organised. They fought tooth and nail for the whole of the 90+ minutes. Their manager deserves every credit because he was gesticulating at every challenge and every tackle being made and instructing his players and encouraging his players, whereas we've got Andrew just sitting kind of not knowing really what to do by the looks of it. So credit to Midtjylland. I've got nothing against them. They played their part and deserve the victory for what they did. Like, what can you say apart from that, really? So, other than that, I'm terrified for the weekend, Lee. I'm not going to lie. I will be talking to John Lane ahead of a game from the True Faith podcast. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm probably going to give them all a big, massive ego boost by saying that Dan Burn might score a hat-trick, like you say, Lee. So, we'll if there's anything else you want to add before we go?
No, nothing from me. I'm hoping it's a positive performance, but I just don't see it. What I would say, just to finally add, I think the time has come now for him to stop messing about. Just pick your best 11 players in training. Just pick them. I don't care who they are. Just pick them. The ones that are going to run through a brick wall for you, pick them. If that means picking someone like Yates, Nicholas Dominguez, get them in. The lads who actually give a toss about playing. Maybe shut up the midfield, match Newcastle up. That'd be my mindset with it. But yeah, I'm kind of devoid of ideas of how it gets better before it gets worse, to be honest, which I think will happen.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much for joining us. We've got 639 people in here. So if you enjoyed the therapy session, despite us trying to quit, drop us a like and a subscribe. It goes a long way. And so next time when we speak with John Lane from the True Faith ahead of the Newcastle game, enjoy hopefully the rest of your Fridays or whenever you're listening to this on audio or later on YouTube. Take care. Come on, you Reds.